If you're watching, if you're helping out, watching ads, making some ad revenue, if you're subscribing and supporting the tournaments directly like that, give yourselves a pat on the back. Everyone in here is helping making these events happen. This is the power of the Starcraft community. We band together, and suddenly there's Starcraft. It's like magic. Yo, Tex Raider gifting 10 subs as well. I'm going to have to read those out after this first game, but thank you so much for the 10 gifted. I really appreciate it. Get some love in the chat, please, for Tex Raider as we start down to the bottom left-hand side. It is our Blue Protoss player, Zoun, as we enter the lower bracket finals. He takes on the Red Terran ByuN. He's looking for revenge. If he can get through to the grand finals, attempt some revenge on Solar, who lies in wait. We got a PVT. Winner takes on a Zerg. Yo, thanks for the love, guys. That's actually crazy. We're like about to hit 1,200 subs. A couple of days ago, I was like, geez, I'd be happy if we could hit 900 by the end of the Winter Championship. And now, 300 subs later, we're about to hit another sub goal. At 1,200, we're gonna host an epic AI versus AI showdown as well. We probably can't do that today. I have plans for after the tournament, but we'll set it up for later in the week if we do end up hitting it today. So, thank you so much, guys. All right, let's talk about the game. It's a Marine first opener, as you so often see from ByuN. Excited to see a bit of ByuN's TvP, of course, especially when Zoun just looked really good in the later game against Cure. Excited to see what that could lead us into. I'm just going to quickly remind myself of how this tournament overall has been looking, because I feel like we've had some very cool matches, right? Zoun is making a hell of a run. He actually won 2-0 against Sol initially, and then dropped down to the lower bracket against Cure, who he just got revenge against. And his lower bracket run is pretty sick. 2-1 Denver, 2-1 Ragnarok, 2-0 Zest, and now 2-0 Cure to end up here against ByuN. ByuN, who came through the winner's bracket, right? And ByuN, who 2-0'd Geralt, 2-0'd Omani in pretty convincing fashion. He took down Zest 2-1, and that was actually a series which was a bit of a more challenging one for ByuN, but he definitely got some, I would say he got some good breaks in that series, right? Like, he got himself a Prism sniper when his opponent was going Prism DT. He had some great plays, and it was very biocentric, very much so like this. Extra racks early in the game, and just playing super aggressive, active bio style that was really able to pull Zest apart because of a lot of little trades. So, maybe expecting to see more of that in this series as well. Of course, in the best of 5, you'll expect ByuN to mix it up maybe a little more than he brought in that best of 3 against Zest in the winner bracket semis. Of course, ByuN down in this lower bracket finals, just in case you missed it. He lost the winner bracket finals 2-3 against Solo. Was 0-2 down, brought it to game 5, wasn't able to win out there. Like I say, looking for revenge there a little bit later on, perhaps, as we dive into this TvP with a couple tech labs coming through. Obviously, getting upgrades ready on those barracks. And while Zoun's setup is just going to be Twilight into the Robo, into the Dark Shrine. So, Robo always suggests it's going to be something more aggressive. I kind of opened up that first game of Zoun versus Cure, talking all about how I think Zoun's going to play Twilights and Dark and 4-gate Blinks and Dark Shrines. This is a little bit more of what I expected Zoun to bring into some of the series. Obviously, we only got to see one real build of Zoun in that previous matchup, just because the second game came down to that early game defense. So yeah, he's going to set it to a Dark Shrine in the natural, and he's going to get his Warp Prism Chrono Boost now to rally out to the other side. And let's see how these DTs can do. So it was actually this map as well where ByuN, it was other sides of the map, and ByuN was playing against Zest. It was game number 1 of this series. Actually, was it this one? I think it was Oxide. It's a similar map though. And the Prism was basically here, warping in DTs, and ByuN just walked out with his first bio units. It was like, oh, Prism, kills it. 2 DTs actually finished warping in. So those 2 DTs were stranded, they got insta-scanned and killed, and ByuN ran away with the game. That was on Oxide, which is a map that actually plays somewhat similarly to Pillars of Gold in a lot of ways. ByuN is gonna just miss the Prism. You're kidding me? He sees it. He glimpses it for a slight second. So I'm gonna start warping in. ByuN going across the map, and this is gonna get interesting. You're gonna have the Marines positioned here to try and force this Prism back. Where are you gonna scan? I have no idea. ByuN is... Oh, there's a DT in the middle of the map. I think trying to intercept this army, but this army's made it by. Full wall up from Zoun. He knows what he's getting himself into as the first DT goes into the main. If ByuN scans these DTs, he can't scan across the map. He scans across the map, so now he can't scan the DTs at home. Super Battery to hold this off, and I'm not sure what ByuN's going to do here. DTs are going to slice and dice everything that he owns. ByuN going to try and stim through the front, going to try and keep on fighting. The Super Battery's about to fade. Can this Bio Army do enough over here? He's killing off a lot of probes that are pulled in to try and buy time. He's about to get a turret in the main base, so he will begin to stabilize, and somehow still has an army from the other side of the map to bring back home. With a turret up here, if he can just get rid of this DT and survive on the natural, it's nice to cancel this turret, though. It's going to really reforce ByuN to, you know, have to build a little longer or wait a little longer to have proper defense there. You know, I don't hate it for ByuN. 6 workers down is very manageable in this matchup. That's a good scan. Oh, I thought that was a brilliant scan, but unfortunately it wasn't quite enough. Prism just about got back in there. I thought the Prism was going to be too low to save that DT. Now the Prism is going to go down. ByuN needs to... Oh my god, this series is already sick, isn't it? Everything's happening. Prism stays alive in the upper right-hand corner. Turrets are finally up. ByuN stabilizes. A little bit low HP on his units, but he's going to get Medivacs to heal those up now. Yeah, I don't hate it for ByuN. He actually traded better here overall when it comes to... sorry, no, he did not trade better. I can't read numbers. He traded worse here overall, but Zoun's third is very late from where it would want to be. Okay, I don't think ByuN's in the lead, but I do think ByuN's in a better position than he should have been in, given the setup that was in place. I can't believe this Prism's alive. If he killed the Prism and that extra DT, I actually think this would have been fine. Then maybe it's kind of even. I think with the Prism staying alive, Zoun just has a little bit of an additional advantage. I think ByuN sees this DT here. Well, if he didn't see it before, he definitely sees it now. Make sure to pick up on that. But I mean, it's another scan going down. It's another investment from ByuN. One of the reasons his eco will be a bit further behind than usual is because he's not been muling on 2 bases like he usually would. He has been scanning a lot instead. So, something else to think about there. You can see the worker lead now starting to build up from Zoun. That's where I'm starting to get worried about ByuN. And because the Prism's still out, he still left some units at home, so he's not even able to make a larger push with a bit of an army supply lead. I'm going to drop into this main base. What's Zoun's defense looking like? Not brilliant, is it? He's also got no upgrades yet. He's missing charge for a few more seconds, so that's one of the things that he really kind of needs to have to help him defend these sort of attacks, and that's where ByuN is going to find some serious value. I think goes back in a couple times as he fails to lift up units there. A little bit of miss micro from Micro Jackson himself. Sometimes it happens. There's a DCR DT into the natural, and it's going to swipe down an SCV there, and not going to scan the ByuN. It's going to come through. DT falls. And get ready to join everything up once more. ByuN still has a few units out on the far left-hand side. We've got ourselves a +1 armor upgrade. Building on this engineering bay. Medivac's falling back. ByuN will join up together, and just going to be seeing ByuN starting to, or continuing to make his way down through the center here. We've got a couple of lift-ups over on the far left-hand side of this as well. ByuN's ready to pounce. There's 2 Colossi up. If those Colossi aren't properly protected, we all know what can happen there. Can get rid of the cannon right away. Ooh, he kind of wanted to go back up top, then realized the Colossi are here. He's going to get cut off, so he backs off. And I think there's enough. I mean, there's an Immortal and an Archon with this army too. This is just bio units. They are not probably going to be able to jump on Colossi with an Immortal and an Archon mixed in. ByuN 3rd CC on the way. It's still pretty late overall, right? I know the 3rd from Zoun was late, but he's had this for a good while now. Up 20 workers, and definitely feels as though this game settles down into a Zoun lead as long as he doesn't let ByuN start pulling him apart. I think as long as Zoun stays steady and doesn't take any damage right here, he's in a perfectly fine position. It's just we know what ByuN can do. He's very good at moving this army. He's very good at using his army movement to move his opponent's army, which creates more opportunities, which creates more openings. So we know that's what ByuN is very good at, and that's what we're potentially going to see a little bit more of here. So you're going to be seeing our bio army showing up. Gazelle's moving over. Stork's going to start fighting. A pylon on the edge. Gets picked off pretty much immediately right now. Army of ByuN up on that high ground. Just going to get a Cybercore pylon. He's happy for minimal amounts of damage here. Not going to go overboard just yet. Colossus showing up should be the moment where ByuN backs away, right? He might finish off this gateway. That might be worthwhile. Marauders from a distance going to be able to find it. Yeah. Obviously, that's just one less gateway to play with from Zoun. It's free damage, really, because, again, you don't take any extra damage sitting around there. And finishing that gateway off. As another observer gets taken down. And ByuN gonna pull back out over to the right-hand side of this here. Zoun gonna start moving out into the center. We got a Widowmine that hits a Colossus. I was mostly watching for the 4th base, but bringing a Colossus a bit low is not a bad thing. Not that you can really capitalize on it right now. ByuN was not in the right place here, though. He gets caught, and he was just kind of moving forward. Another little micro mistake from him. Army moving forward when I need to be backing away. DT shows up on the freshly made 3rd base, and that's 8 dead SCVs. Zoun doesn't even need a larger army fight right now. He can actually just sort of say, well, the DT alone is getting work done. Observer gonna run away from the scan that just gets placed to Zoun. Playing nice and quick, noticing what's going on, protecting units when he needs to. And just going to be seen up by a force of ByuN. All collecting together, these few medevacs going to load up everything. And we're going to take these out to the far left-hand side. As our Dark Shrine coming in, +2 attack, +1 armor. All of this is on the way up right now. Robot facility onto the natural. And again, the army of Zoun makes its way through the center of the map. The army of ByuN looks for a drop into the main. Definitely feels like ByuN's getting desperate, right? Big drops like this are risky. He loses 2 medevacs, one full, second one still halfway, kind of, you know, still halfway kind of full, half empty, half full. Depends if you're pessimist or optimist. Is the medevac half full or half empty? In this case, ByuN's going to be like, well, it was half empty. I already had half the units out of it, right? It was fine. Never, and then Zoun's like, oh, it was half full. Yes, I love that kill. Zoun's just winning this game through multiple better trades at this stage. And ByuN never really got going. I think, like I was saying, Zoun really had an advantage. ByuN never really found a way to tear Zoun apart. And on top of that, ByuN just kept losing units, right? So ByuN's position was only ever getting worse as Zoun's position improved. And Zoun is going to win out game number 1 and goes 1-0 up in this best of 5. In the top right-hand side, our red Protoss player from Alpha X is Zoun. And he's on a bit of a winning streak, guys. He's now won 5 maps in a row in this event. 2 against S, 2 against Cure. There's something to be said about that. When you're on a winning streak, it kind of gives you this this aura of, man, like, I'm playing well today. Like, can anyone beat me? And I always feel like that definitely improves how you play. ByuN, bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player, hasn't had to play as much as Zoun today. He played a 5-game series. Well, he actually played less maps than Zoun today. He played 5 games against Solar, but 1 series versus 2 series. He's had a little bit of a break before this one as well. I love ByuN, but he hasn't really been doing anything special these past months at all. I don't think he's been doing anything special, but I don't think he's been doing badly. I mean, don't forget, he came off of Aces ROG with a victory. And I feel like his results have been consistently high as well, right? Like, it's not like he's, like, dropping out of everything. He finished TSL 6 in 3rd place. So he wins Aces ROG. He finished TSL 6 in 3rd place. He gets top 8 in DreamHack Masters. He finishes top 16, and he gets round of 16, so he loses in Super Tournament in a series that goes long against SOS. Yeah, Katowice. I mean, it's basically Katowice, right? And I feel like Katowice was a, you know, it's always a tough tournament. And he went out. He did not have a good day. He finished 4th place. 4th place? 5th place in his group, even? He finished 5th place in his group. I mean, tough group. He won some maps. Wasn't able to bring home the victories. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not like ByuN's out here winning everything. But he's still out here showing up, you know. He's still out here having a good time and winning series, taking maps off some of the better players. Yeah. What else did he win lately? Oh, he won Cheers Adelphia, right? Sorry, I'm just looking at the history of ByuN as there's a probe just sitting down here. He won Cheers Adelphia back in man, he's played a lot this year already. He's played so many tournaments. Yeah, he won Cheers Adelphia at the end of January. That was $3,500. Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like, it's like it's almost like we just have higher expectations of ByuN though. But when you really sit back and look at it, I think his results have been pretty great. I think the only thing that's really lacking was a better Katowice result. These things happen. I mean, Reynold got knocked out of Katowice last year in the group stages. Look at the year he went on to have. Game 2, this single Adept initially runs into a lot of Marines. Don't want to lose an Adept. He's going for a Glaive's openness. Zoun is going for something very different here. Zoun is probably one of the few players that realistically builds a lot of the Glaive openings on, you know, a lot of these Glaive openings in PvT. Like, he does this a fair amount. Even in PvZ on, like, off timings, I feel like he probably builds this Glaive upgrade more than anybody else out there right now, you know? So yeah, I'm let's see what we do with this. We proxy up a gateway. This is one of those scenarios where if you just don't have a wall as ByuN, you just die. Like, this is so bad if you don't get a wall off, because then you have to deal with these Adepts that have glaives that are super powerful. They can very easily start to just work their way through Marines. Yeah. Well, ByuN is going to go for a Raven. That doesn't help you really against the Adepts either. He does have his Widowmine drop moving across the map. This might not give him the information he needs either, though. I mean, if he can get some probe kills here, that's probably going to be necessary, because if he doesn't get work kills, it's almost guaranteed that he's going to end up taking some worker damage. So the first Widowmine drops down, a couple of probes. Moving into this, first Widowmine goes off. There's the second Widowmine shot, multiple probes going down. Not the best of starts. As our medevac escapes away to the top right-hand side, so 3 probes go down. Here come our Adapts. There's still no wall off. What ByuN can do is if he defends the main base, that could be a play. He's got so many Marines that aren't upgraded with anything. This is the Adept county. Oh, he misses the second depot lift. He's going to have an auto turret from the Raven. Tell you what, the Adepts don't get the full surround on the Marines, right? And that's definitely concerning. When the Adepts shade right on top of those Marines, they start doing so much damage so quickly, but because they're kind of fighting in that line, it feels like it's almost better for those Marines then. So ByuN is going to salvage a defense here. Loses 5 SCVs, obviously not mining off the natural, so it's not ideal. But you are on a late third base as the Protoss player. Actual tech units that are going to help you later in the game are delayed. Obviously, Adepts are not really something that transition well later on into the game, so these are mostly going to be just harassing units at this stage. Yeah, ByuN lets them go up into the main, and Zoun's kind of like, yeah, I don't really believe that's a good idea, actually, because why are you letting me get into the main? If he'd maybe shade from a little bit further forward, it might have been a bit better, as tank coverage now going to stop much from happening on the natural, and ByuN has indeed defended this, so ByuN will hold, as the Widowmine drop was not majorly successful. A couple of probes, and now this medevac is going to hide in the corner, but it's forcing units back at home as well. The Raven is going to sit here, potential to auto turret. Of course, ByuN picks up on the fact there's no third Nexus just yet, so he still knows that he's in a great position when it comes to economy. I mean, Zoun has a worker lead at the moment, but it's a worker lead that's going to be very minimal in terms of actual effect, because you're oversaturating a base. So yeah, you get a little bit of boosted eco off of it, but compared to like having a fresh base with those extra 5 or 6 workers on, the advantage is really just... It just doesn't really amount to anything, so... Yeah, it's just very... unnoticeable, I think, is the word. Like, yes, it will go up, the numbers will be higher, but you don't really notice the additional income when you've got like 5 probes off of a additional base versus, like, again, like 5 probes on a new base. I like what ByuN's got set up here. The Raven's actually going to pull back home, and I don't mind that. Saving the Raven for a push could be very effective, especially a game where you know the Colossi will be late, so if you get double Matrix up, and you can Matrix 2 Colossi, and the Colossus count is low, that could be a game winner. I love what he's setting up with these other units, right? He's got a Widowmine drop still set up. He's got a Liberator ready to go. He is poised to get in here and to deal a whole bunch of additional damage at a moment's notice. And you know what ByuN's going to do as he moves out with this army? He's going to make use of this, and he's absolutely going to bring it into play. Now, this Raven took a couple shots, still alive. Isn't going to repair it up. But protecting that Raven is a huge, huge part of this game right now for ByuN, who is actually just going to siege as though he's going to protect a third. His third isn't ready yet as Stalkers wander into siege tank fire. Zoun will blink them away. The mine drop did come back through. Gets onto the natural. That'll get cleaned up now at least. The medevac's still alive, but no additional Widowmine inside of it. A few Adepts poised as they come off this. I'm not sure if they warped in there, if they've just been waiting. But it's definitely a counterattack you want to see if you're a Zoun fan right now, because that's going to be what saves him a little bit. There's the double Matrix we're talking about on the Colossi. Tanks get sieged with that tank fire. I'm not sure how important that super battery is really going to be. Stalkers are going to get melted anyway. Now he breaks through the battery. And okay, the Colossi are still alive, but now you've got tanks in a really good position. They should really target fire the Colossus. If you want to win this, target firing the Colossus down is going to be how you win this fight as ByuN with those siege tanks, and he is doing that. Widowmine goes off. This one Colossus is such low HP. If he doesn't get that, that's a real shame. The Adepts are doing great. Again, 3 Adepts will one-shot SCVs, so doing exactly that right now. I can't believe this Colossus survives. I actually think that's a bit of a game changer, because if you take that down, the difference in what Zoun has left over is massive. ByuN losing 12 SCVs, didn't get any workers himself. I don't think this was good enough from ByuN. I was liking his position, but he's not done enough. Was fighting the super battery the wrong decision? I don't think so, because there was nothing here really dealing like a ton of damage while the super battery was up, because the Colossi had been taken out. Like I say, you get one more Colossus, this attack itself becomes way less scary. Now you've got 3 Colossi marching across the map, looking as though they might show up on top of this base sometime soon. There you go. I'm just going to be seeing a few units try and move through this choke point, getting caught up, a little bit of splash damage going down. From around the left, a few Adepts looking to shade in. Threaten a bit of a fight right now. Tank gonna siege up. It's all gonna lift. I mean, you just don't have a way to fight 3 Colossi. That's what ByuN is, falling down on right now. It's actually really big that Zoun got one of the siege tanks initially as well. Because he actually got one of the siege tanks when he first pushed forward, and that was really big. Shutting that down, I mean, it was only 1 tank remaining. Made a big difference. ByuN gonna do what he can with Widowmine drops, but down 16 workers. Has to re-land the 3rd base, not being allowed to just mine from that comfortably. And Zoun's getting into that macro mode where he's just going to keep on expanding. So the first expansion coming up to that upper left side, ready for the 4th base. And again, he's just going to keep those bases coming unless ByuN does something to really stop it here. Now, is that a successful connection on probes? Not really either. 3 workers go down. For a moment, it maybe felt as though the probes were stacked up and struggling to get away, but not enough to see a major probe kill there. As you do have a medevac escapes to the right-hand side, so it's going to stay alive as these Adepts come through. SCV goes down, Adepts will go shading forward, and the Bio Army is not going to catch those Adepts. Those Adepts do cancel their shade and pull it back. Ghost Academy onto the 3rd base. And shockwaves coming up. Can see a gateway going down. The bio unit's able to get rid of the pylon as well. We do have this army of Zoun ready for a little bit of a push. Down over here, just going to blink on a few of these units. I mean, medevacs get taken down instantly. The bio units can't do anything but run. Honestly, with 2 disruptors here, Zoun might just be able to make a push in. He doesn't have any armor upgrades, which is maybe a little scary. But he has attack upgrades, so you can definitely chew through this army with the 3 Colossi. SCV's going down, Adept showing up, man. It's funny because obviously usually you see like Zealots charging in and stuff, right? But 3 Adepts actually do really well in these scenarios because he has glaives. Like if they don't have glaives, they're useless. But like it's crazy, but like they actually do really well for these little run-bys into mineral lines. Works very well, honestly. I love it. You do something weird, and because of that, because of doing something a little bit strange, a little bit weird, you're able to put yourself in a position where you're able to kind of just utilize it still, right? Like, the glaives opener is not normal, but he says, well, if I do have glaives off my weird opener, I can still make use of it. The tanks are abandoned as ByuN pulled back to deal with counterattacks, and, well, the tank count just goes down. Now you've got disruptor shots flying left, right, center on this army, and not all of them really connect, and ByuN is going to chase forward, and he's cleaning out a few of them. Stalkers are being picked away at. Vikings are continuing to chase. Is there some hope here from ByuN? If you can get rid of Colossi, Super Battery comes in, Colossus gets saved. Man, Colossi being saved are like the real kind of MVPs of this game. They haven't even got that many kills, but it's the threat of the Colossi in the army that's so powerful, right? As, again, Colossus survives, going down and no shields, low HP, still alive. 7 SCVs go down as, again, the counterattacks are down, do not stop. That's how many workers this game? 34? And all for just these cheap units, of course. Like, this wasn't like 20 workers he caught when he caught a base out of position with his main army. This is just like the little bits of harassment that keep on coming through. Go back up to the upper left. We do have the units of Zoun. Gonna start making a bit of a step forward. An EMP sets up, lands onto an Arc on a few of these Zealots. Vikings gonna try and get the Colossi. I mean, they are at least keeping them out of the fight for a while, which is what you need. The Disruptors, he target fires them down as they're about to land on all of the bio. I mean, you gotta make some ballsy plays in a position like this, and ByuN does anything he can to try and keep this army alive. I mean, he literally ran into Zealots to make sure he didn't die to Disruptors. Like, it was the best call given the circumstances. It was never a call you'd like to make. Yeah, just going to be seeing the Zealots continue to chase in, and this is just going to be seeing everything cleaned out. Zoun is going to go to a 2-0 lead, and Zoun is looking to eliminate ByuN and go to the grand final. Bottom right-hand side, up 2-0 in this best of 5 lower bracket finals. Guys, give it up for Zoun. This man is on a freaking streak. Denver, Ragnarok, Zest, Cure, about to lay waste to ByuN, our red Terran top left, to make it to the grand finals to fight Solar here in our Winter Championship. $300 guaranteed for these players so far. $400 if you make the finals, $800 you double up if you win the finals. That's the big prize money there. That's the big difference. I'm terrified for ByuN, because it kind of feels like Zoun is somewhat untouchable at the moment in this PvT. You know what I think as well? I think he has the I think he has this I think he's got the aura. The I can't lose aura on him right now. I feel like that's what's currently in place. I feel like he just believes in himself so much that he's feeling good, you know? Probe comes in, fights the SCV, and Zoun gonna work his way around the right-hand side. Cybernetics core building up to the side of the main base, and Zoun is gonna go to the natural, ready to Nexus it up here. So it is gonna be Gate Cyber Nexus. We actually have seen a few players go Gate Nexus core again lately, skipping that core until after the Nexus, and it's opened up a couple of these Terran proxies to find a bit more success. No, guys, he doesn't have the death aura. He's got the I'm invincible aura. When you win and you keep winning, you just believe you can't lose. Roddy talks about this, and I actually really love the analogy, because Roddy talks about it with Serral. I actually think it's a really cool idea, and I kind of believe it too, that when Serral was on his major streak, part of what made Serral so good was being able to clutch out series, but because he turned so many unwinnable games around. Because he almost believed, well, I can't lose, so I just guess I gotta do something to win, right? I'm not saying Zoun is quite doing that, but, like, I do believe in this. Like, since Roddy brought that up, I really kind of stand by this idea of, like, yeah, like, if you just don't, like, if you just believe you can't lose, then you just never lose, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely the opposite, right? Where you doubt yourself, you don't believe, and then you kind of doubt yourself more, and that affects your gameplay. So yeah, same aura Maru had when he won all those GSLs. I'm not sure if that was the Maru aura, or if that was the getting to pick your group in the round of 32 and making an easy group in the round of 16 sort of thing. I feel like that. Yeah. Now, Maru was obviously sick on that run as well. His playoffs in those brackets were insane. Yeah, confidence. Believing in yourself. And Maru winning like 4 GSLs in a row is actually ridiculous, right? Like, it's so crazy to think of someone doing that again. Actually wild. Alright, guys. Plus one attack upgrade coming through on the engineering bay. You're not going to see that 4-gate blink. I mean, Romanticide is such a good map for this. You've got so many options of where to blink in. This is one we see 4-gate blink on a lot, and ByuN's opted to go 3CC into 2 racks plus 1 engineering bay. I'm not really too, I'm not too confident about ByuN's setup here. This feels like one of the worst setups you could have against this 4-gate blink, because it's not even 3 racks right now, right? So there's not even like a ton of units on the way out. Prism going to move across out to the top side. You just have our Blink going to be finishing soon. And the gas from ByuN going to finish up in the natural as well. So all of this coming through. Our Prism going to be flying by, and the Marine going to start putting some damage onto it. These few Stalkers going to lift up and move their way into the main base. So, yeah. Now, the way that Zoun plays this is a lot of the time he doesn't warp in those additional Stalkers. He almost plays this like he's playing 3 gateways. He doesn't go like hyper aggressive with this. Like you see here, he drops 4 Stalkers in the main, and then he's kind of done. Then he backs away, then he warps in again. He does have some units at home. Let's see what he can do as ByuN is really just, again, rallying these few bio units around. Blinks into the main base. Now I'm going to get rid of a couple of SCVs. This depot's going to go down as well. These other Stalkers going to continue forward. The starport going to lift up and move to the reactor. Additional SCVs continue to go down. These Marines in some trouble. The bio army moving through. And that's just going to take the force the other Stalkers away for a few moments. So pushing those back. We do have the Nexus on the 3rd base coming in as well. So getting that 3rd Nexus up and running. As we are looking as though we're going to jump back into the main base. See, this is the issue when you don't really have a... You know, you might have stim, but there's only so many times you can stim here. Is Zoun just going to commit for the orbital? Kill it! Kill it, Zoun! Get it! Oh, he gets it! Oh my god, the 3rd base goes down. ByuN. He's in some trouble. There's our 3rd Nexus behind this, and obviously going into the Forge and the robot base are beginning to set up on this. Lose the bunker on the natural. It's another weak point you now have to deal with, and... Okay, the bio army is looking sizable at this stage, but the Stalkers don't have to fight the bio army. That's the power of it. Zoun really... I mean, this build order choice... I'm surprised by ByuN's build order choice. Just because Zoun does love this 4-gate Blink so much, and on top of that, he's playing Romanticide, which is a great map for it, and then ByuN, again, to me, he picks a build which I just don't think is that great against this at all. Let's see what he can do across the map. Don't count ByuN out until his medevacs are dead. As, he's going to start losing a lot of SCVs here for sure, and oh my god, new 3rd base, bye-bye. Not allowed. Losing the 3rd is obviously the issue, right? If you still have a 3rd CC here, you're probably okay as ByuN. You're probably making it work out, but the 3rd going down is a problem. Let's see what he can do across the map. He's going to force the recall. There is a super battery activating, so you lose 12 probes right away, but you've just... Okay, you're still actually getting probe kills. 17 gets out of there with 1 full medevac of units. Okay, that gives me some hope from ByuN again. Imagine now you had a 3rd base, right? Imagine now you have a 3rd CC. That'd be crazy as these Stalkers come around. A couple of SCVs going down. Rotor's still just simmering forward and pushing that Prism away up through the top side of the map. Zoun settles down on the bottom side here and just going to be having our charge coming through. Our extended thermal lens just past halfway being done as well. Medevac's going to come around the far left and going to make their way. I mean, this is what I mean. ByuN, if he's got medevacs, I still believe in him a little bit, and he's definitely opened up a doorway right now. And he might just be able to step through to stay alive in this series. Let's see if he can do anything else with further drops. Good pylon positioning down here. We'll give Zoun the heads up. We'll let Zoun know, hey, you're still trying to drop me. Gotta make sure I don't let that happen, right? So, Bio gonna unload here. This pylon will fall. Pull back a little bit. Colossi, a few Stalkers coming in. The Bio army having to drop off and deal with the pylon, right? This is not what ByuN wants. ByuN wants to be hitting mineral lines. He wants to be pulling Zoun apart. He doesn't want to be taking fights, although he is 1-1 against 0-0, so the upgrades are pretty good for ByuN. Worth keeping in mind that that super early engineering bay obviously has, you know, a bit of a role to play. Got that +1 attack early, so now you get +1 armor early. Now look how late he's going to be onto 2-2. Armory just starting, second engineering bay just start coming up. And this is just ByuN being thrown off his game a little bit. So now that advantage is definitely going to slip away. An advantage that should have been, you know, all game long is now only going to last, you know, it's just not going to be as useful. It's not going to be something you can use as much as he should have been able to. Move around the right. I'm going to go dropping in Stalkers here. Full Blink medevac kill. That's beautiful. I mean, Zoun's just set up well. He's got units everywhere. He knows what ByuN wants to do to get back in this game. Now, ByuN is going to start taking a 4th base, so he's going to start that up pretty quickly once the 3rd is ready to go. And ByuN may be realizing he's not going to win this game off the aggression, so he's going to start setting up for a later stage of this. But boy, did we see just how good Zoun can be in the later stages of of PvT. So I'm not all of a sudden convinced that this is going to be brilliant for ByuN or anything. Let's see how ByuN going to go over to the right-hand side. Just going to see a couple of zealots up the top. Fire picks off one zealot right there. Just going to be seeing another command center of ByuN coming through in that upper left-hand side. Ghosts, Vikings, all on the way up. Still watching the 2-2 come into play, and the +2 attack and the +1 armor. Continuing up right now as well as ByuN settles around into the center of the map, getting ready to push around here. I mean, Zoun now just going to start taking a 4th base, and like I was saying before, I feel like this is where we start to get very comfortable. Game settles down for a little bit. Observers coming around, positioning, Zoun just picking up info. I mean, Zoun is, like I said, though, just being allowed to go to where he wants to be. Gravitic drive. Gravitic boosters into Gravitic drive on the Robo base. He's going to have Observer and Prism speed. He's going to have the Dark Shrine up, so we're going to see Shadow Stride researched. Then also taking pretty reasonable map control. I like these Widow Mines scattered around, keeping track of bases and armies. And it's not like he's making the wrong decision on the army choice either, right? He's going Ghosts, he's going Vikings, he's playing for the later game fights. It's just, it's not easy to take those later game fights. I do feel like if ByuN goes with 2-2 now, though, maybe that's one of his better opportunities, because it's before you're at that point of having, like, a lot of DT counterattack, etc. It's before Zoun has a major bank set up. And because you've built hard into the Ghost and Viking counts, it's very plausible that you can take a reasonable fight in this one. First DT gets seen. ByuN will have a second scan. We'll clean that up. Always funny when so many units are, like 20 plus ByuN units are like chasing down a single DT here. It's like, no, we gotta catch him. As I'll start charge on through, and the ByuN's gonna turn around and pick off one of those zealots already. And now the whole army joins up together, but this is intriguing because Zoun's gonna commit across the map. Never base trade Terran's a very old saying, but it's not one that's really true any longer because Protoss have the power of recall. So it may just be never base trade at Protoss, but that's the position ByuN's going to get into. Both sides have their advantages they can play with here. Zoun gets the first little jump on this. I like what he's doing, peeling a few units away to that 3rd base. Going to get rid of this orbital right away, pull off the SCVs, and then make his way into the main base, hopefully stopping any of the production. Before there's too many units here, there's not really any defensive units in this main base. That will be the problem that ByuN kind of faces, that he's got nothing to really hold his main with. Now what can Zoun hold the main with? Obviously he's got DTs to help him out in these scenarios. Zoun actually just sent the rest of his units across the map, so he's going to go full base trade mode here. Now Zoun is still got a lot of money in the bank, so he can expand elsewhere, build pylons up. Bit of a shame that he just doesn't have the the supply right now to actually build even more. Because he's actually able to afford a whole bunch as he will take down this planetary fortress in a moment. Will he? Oh my god. SCV's keeping it alive. The Colossus is fighting the SCV. He's going to get rid of the chunk of them in the end there, and that will make the difference. Zoun. I mean, the problem is if this comes down to a position where Zoun is still able to build, Zoun has that huge bank. Like, if they start rebuilding, Zoun's going to have the massive advantage. So what you need to do here as ByuN is you need to win this game by shutting down this army, by fully base trading and by killing everything. You can't let Zoun start to stabilize at all. So ByuN is the one who's on the clock. He's under pressure. He's got a base down here. Probes are just going to evacuate. I mean, at this point, Zoun should just play for an additional base, I think. I don't think there's any reason for Zoun. Okay, he's got ByuN on no bases. I don't think there's any... Yeah, well, ByuN's got SCVs, though. I don't think there's any reason for Zoun to kind of play running around the map and anything. I think he just takes a base and he sits on it and he rebuilds. Hey, 6 of the 7 SCVs of ByuN are in the main base, by the way. And the 7th is down in the bottom right-hand side. So that's the only extra additional SCV ByuN has. Outside of this main, Zoun's going to start building on ByuN's 3rd. See Rax going up in the corner. The thing is, you don't win a fight now as ByuN, do you? There's still 3 Colossi, there's 5 Disruptors. The only good thing for ByuN is that Zoun doesn't have a lot of Zealots in the army. I think that's the only positive ByuN really has in this, is Zoun, I don't feel like needs to be out here. He does see the army, so with that Observer, he knows what he's fighting into, so he can make an educated decision as to what he's doing. Disruptor's going to fly. He obviously believes he can just win this game right here and now. Doesn't need to make it way down. Disruptor shots land on the right-hand side. My friend Zoun is starting to win out this fight. The Vikings are going to land, though. Can he actually clean up the Vikings? He can't clean up the Vikings, which land, and there's a few units left over. Stalkers are in a bit of trouble at the moment. Comes forward, kills the Marauder. These Disruptors need to fire and buy some time. Any connection right now is huge. Forces to lift into Medivacs. Now the Stalkers are back here to shut this down. Okay, I thought Zoun had a better fight than what he actually had. Hey, but tell you what, Zoun's actually on supply block now, so if he can get some units up, or some production up, he's going to be able to build units again. Of course, Zoun now doesn't know where ByuN is. ByuN's going to come dropping in. Links in, one Medivac goes down. Disruptor shot onto the Vikings. He gets a couple. That's all he needs. Couple units going down to the Disruptors. There's only one Stalker left, though. Oh my god, you're kidding me. There's 2 Vikings, 1 Stalker. The Stalker has to blink for its life. The Disruptors go to the front. The 1 Stalker is going to try and do whatever it can. He doesn't have blink. It goes down. The Medivacs can keep on microing. Remember that Zoun has 2 gateways about to come in. He's going to be able to build cannons. More gates. He's actually going to be able to get units, though, eventually, right? That's the problem. These Disruptors fighting for their lives. ByuN has literally 2 units left. He's got a Viking and a Marauder that are trying to lift up in these Medivacs and slowly kill everything. But he has to keep dodging Disruptor shots. There's now only 2 Disruptors remaining. Zoun gets Zealots warped in, and that's what he's been needing this entire time. He loses 1 more Disruptor. These Zealots surely can just do this, right? Disruptor shot! Oh my god. ByuN is building depots in the main base, but he's got so much less money than Zoun does. Zoun should just be able to build... He's waiting for the Cyber Core. That's what he's missing, right? With the Cyber Core, he's actually going to be able to build Stalkers, and that's what he needs, a little bit of range. As Zoun realizes there's units up over here, he's going to run in this high ground. The thing is, you can't actually fight these Zealots. Oh my god. Zoun, why did you take the fight on the left side? I believed... I mean, I understand why. I also kind of believed in the fight. Okay, and Zoun... The bank that Zoun had has actually just saved him here. Came down to that, and 1 Marine pops out. There's the extra Stalkers warped in. Blinks down, the Viking goes down. I think this is going to be it for ByuN. He put up a fantastic final fight, but it's not going to be enough. Zoun is going to take the 3-0, and we have a ridiculous ending to the lower bracket finals. It's a 3-0, but you know, it was a 3-0 that was packed to the brim with action and just ridiculous games. You've got a ZVP finals.